We've gotten some good advice, but what makes Sidney Lumet's Dog Day Afternoon great? Well, aside from the harmony of a talented cast and crew, the structure of the screenplay is brilliant. 2 hours and 4 minutes and not a single dull moment. Even though the movie was based on true events, it is important to remember that this is a story that is being told, and it has to be entertaining, engaging, and dramatic, just like any other movie.
I felt it was extremely important that whatever we do, even though we would not do any invented thing or any false thing that we knew of, but that past that we had to make it work as a piece of drama, that the truth could help us only up to a point, and after that we were under the same obligation as any other artificially created piece. As authentic as we were, as well as using all of the naturalistic elements, no movie lighting, no fake lighting outside. Finally, it had to work as a drama. Finally, I had a camera in there. Finally, it is an artificial creation, a script, a director, actors. It is not the truth.
After a brief opening credit sequence detailing the setting, a hot summer day in Brooklyn, we are thrust right into the robbery. This movie is situational. The protagonists are unable to walk away from the situation and are forced to deal with it head on. Other examples of this would be movies like Die Hard and Castaway. They can't just leave the situation regardless of the consequences. With Dog Day Afternoon, the backstory is going to come out later, so why not start with the situation immediately? In a 2-hour movie, Act 1 will be roughly 30 minutes long. Act 2 will be about an hour, and Act 3 will be the final 30 minutes. Nearly all movies separate each of their acts in substantial ways. Sometimes the acts are separated based on location, such as in Back to the Future Part 3. Act 1 is in Hill Valley in 1955, Act 2 is in the Old West in 1885, and Act 3 is on the train. In Dog Day Afternoon, the act changes are well defined and perfectly reinvent the situation, despite never changing the location. The first act, the robbery, not only sets up the situation but the mood, and lets us know who we're dealing with. The screenwriter Frank Pierson uses the first act to paint Sonny and Sal as amateur in every opportunity. Sonny has some knowledge of bank security from having worked in one, but this is the reason that ultimately leads to his downfall.
Why'd you have to light a fire?
Act 2, the standoff with Moretti and the police, is the bulk of the film. So you have 2 robbers and some hostages in a bank surrounded by police. What do you do for the next 60 pages? Well, it seems like the trick is to come up with a list of the normal things that would arise from this situation. Barricading the door, hostage exchange, talking to the detective, the media circus, Sonny interviewed on the TV, Sonny's demands and plan to fly out of the country, Leon brought in, and so on. And use each one as a way to reveal more about the characters. Treat it as if you're telling Sonny's story through each of these events. Act 3 is a complete shift in mood, and is marked by the power being cut. It was all fun and games, but now it is serious. Perhaps the most powerful shot in the whole film is a shot of Moretti from Act 3. In Act 2, Moretti and Sonny build a rapport. Moretti comes across as someone empathizing with Sonny and wants to talk it out with him and keep him content enough to keep the hostages safe. Sonny had the power, but now, when Sonny realizes that the police are listening in on his phone call with Leon, Moretti stays silent and stone-faced.
Who's on the phone now? Moretti, is that you on the phone?
Sonny has metaphorically and literally lost his power. Imagine for a minute that you're writing a bank robbery scene, and you write it straight, ordinary, and filled with cliches. 3 guys go into a bank, get into the vault, grab the money, and leave. Now go back and complicate it. What do you come up with? The third robber chickens out after the robbery has already started. Someone is hiding under the desk. The phone rings. The money is not there. Burning the ledger causes a lot of smoke. A neighboring businessman notices the smoke. The phone rings again. A brilliant and very quick setup and payoff is the constantly ringing phone. The phone rings, and there's the issue that Sal has to make sure that the manager doesn't reveal the robbery. This happens several times while other things are happening, and we are completely thrown when the manager says,
It's for you.
What? Telephone call. For you.
The first phone call is very important to the turn because it sets up the expectation and then subverts it. If this happened on the first time the phone rang, we wouldn't know what to expect, and the impact of the manager saying "it's for you" would have been considerably diminished. When something is expected, do the opposite. This also works wonders for comedic effect. When the phone rings again, we are now expecting that it's the police calling back, but we are fooled again.
All right, listen, bastards. You keep away from this bank or we're gonna start throwing bodies out the front door one at a time. You got that? Who's Jenny here?
It's me.
It's this squirrel. You got a husband? Yeah, well, he's on the phone.
These clever turns happen several times in the first act. The security guard has asthma, the tellers want to use the bathroom before they are locked in, and there's a girl in the bathroom taking an extra long lunch break. The third guy chickens out and wants to take the car to go home.
Stevie, don't take the car.
But how will I get home?
Take the subway. We need the car. Stevie, the keys.
One of the best things about Dog Day Afternoon is that there's plenty of humor, but there are no jokes or gags. All of the humor arises out of the natural situation, is never out of place or without context. In the first act, we learn a lot about Sonny. He's the ringleader. He used to work in a bank, so he's somewhat knowledgeable about his situation even though he's caught up in it. Every bit of backstory and exposition is delivered within the context of what's happening, and utilizes and consolidates the events in the surroundings. Sonny reveals his knowledge and experience when people are trying to manipulate him, and it comes across as perfectly natural.
No, not all of it. Look, I worked in a bank. I know the alarms. You're a city cop, right? Robbing a bank's a federal offense. They got me on kidnapping, armed robbery. They're gonna bury me, man. Right, you ever been to prison?
No.
No. Well, let's talk about something you fucking know about, okay?
We first learn about Leon from the television. What better excuse could you have for using in-universe media for exposition when the media circus is a major theme of the film? The film ebbs and flows in emotion, like music. There are big crescendos, as well as very soft and intimate moments.
One of the biggest problems in a movie like this, where the intensity is so high, is to make sure that you are never repeating an emotion, and that you're changing your, not just the tempo in terms of the time, but the tempo emotionally, to make sure that the laughter goes only so far and that the drama goes only so far.
Pierson also often teases events. Nothing happens right away. The police call, but Sonny hangs up. Leon arrives but refuses to talk to Sonny. Sonny demands a plane, but it will take a while for it to be ready, and so on. This is a very effective tactic. Because it all takes place in one location, there isn't a whole lot of possibilities for interrupting plot points to check in with something else happening in a separate location. This way we get a variety of beats to anticipate, so that the plot never gets dull and never loses momentum. It also helps set up expectations that can be subverted in the future.